Kevin J. Johnston, the #1 name. In the land of the North, he's risen to fame. 40 years deep in the law he's read. Now the CRA shakes in fear and dread. Stop paying tax forever, my friend. With Kevin J. Johnston, the fight doesn't end. Corporate debt, he'll make it all good. He's the man the CRA misunderstood. Payroll problems, they vanish like mist when Kevin shows up with his legal fist. No more matching, no more lies, just clean-cut books and clear blue skies. Stop paying tax forever, my friend. With Kevin J. Johnston, the rules start to bend. The CRA can scream and shout, but Kevin knows how to throw them out. They claim they've got the final say, but Kevin proves there's a better way. He fights for truth, he fights for you, and teaches what the courts won't do. Forever today. Let Kevin J. Johnston show you the way. The expert, the rebel, the man with a plan. He's saving this nation, one client per hand. He's got 40 years of tax law knowing and corporate skills that keep cash flowing. GST, payroll, all in line. He'll save your neck and every dime. He studied law, both civil crime, and makes tax code sound so sublime. With stand-up jokes and punchlines tight, he makes your seminar a night of light. Kevin J., Kevin J., CRA just runs away. He's the tax manslayer with a legal plan, the best-looking genius in the land. Kevin J., Kevin J., taking all your tax away. If the government's scared, then it's safe to say he's the hero of the North, Kevin J. 2 million women cast their vote, said Kevin's hot, that's all she wrote. The suits at CRA can't compete, he's beaten them clean without deceit. 100 mil he's saved so far, he's raising truth like a legal star. And if you think you owe the state, he'll show you how to terminate. Kevin J., Kevin J., CRA just runs away. He's the tax manslayer with a legal plan, the best-looking genius in the land. Kevin J., Kevin J., taking all your tax away. If the government's scared, then it's safe to say he's the hero of the North, Kevin J. The tax act's just a paper myth unless you work for CRA, no ifs. He buys your corp, clears every cent, then laughs while walking from the government. Restructure payroll, skip the fees, fire the tax man with graceful ease. He's winning battles in the courts each day. Soon he'll cost the feds $1 billion. Kevin J., Kevin J., CRA just runs away. He's the tax manslayer with a legal plan, the best-looking genius in the land. Kevin J., Kevin J., Canada's
Johnston here. Welcome to the Tax and Money Show. That's live every Tuesday at 9 p.m. right here on the Tax and Money Show.com. Today is money, tax, and crypto questions and answers. Yeah, we have a lot of questions that have poured in the door last couple of days, everybody, and I want to make sure that we address as many of them as we possibly can. And as always, to everybody who's watching, I do not chat through direct messaging on any social media platform, period. If you're on TikTok and you're talking to somebody, it ain't me. If you're on, we got to name them all, everyone. If you're on WhatsApp, it's not me. If you're talking on Signal, it's not me. If you're talking on Telegram, it ain't me. If you are in a private chat on Facebook or on Instagram, it's not me. Because I'll tell everyone the same thing. The only thing the hackers and the scammers can't get to is my website. So it's kevinjjohnston.com. Here, up here on TikTok and here on Rumble and YouTube. Please only communicate with me on the website. I, in no way, shape, or form, am going to make it a habit of starting to communicate with people in DMs because that's where the scams take place. Unfortunately, some poor soul lost $2,500 last week to a scammer. Blamed me for it, of course, called me a scammer. And my back got up on that one. I had to tell the guy, I don't know you. I don't know you. You go to my website, you call me a scammer. But who the hell did you give money to? Right? And it turns out he gave money to some scammer. And I said, tell you what I'm going to do here. You got scammed. I'll give you a free consultation, but I'm not going to be doing any tax work for you for free of charge. And we met face to face, and he finally realizes after 30 minutes that, oh, yeah, I guess I got scammed. That's really what it boiled down to. Oh, everyone, in order of operations, I got to explain how it works. You go to my website. If you want a consultation, you would purchase the consultation on my website. You can actually pick the date and time that you want based on what the calendar says is available. You're then going to get a message directly from the site that tells you, congratulations, you've booked it. And then you're also going to get a personal email from one member of my team with a Zoom link. It'll be a Zoom link. When you get into that Zoom link, if I am not already there, it just means I'm finishing up another call, but one of my team will be there chatting with you for just a few minutes. They'll let you know Kevin's going to be here in 30 seconds. Kevin's going to be here in 10 seconds. Kevin's already here, whatever it is. And I'll jump into that Zoom room, and then we're going to talk face to face, where you can ask me questions, where you can say things like, let's make sure I'm not talking to AI. You know, Kevin, do a backflip. Kevin, pick your mouse up on the off of the desk. Yeah, I've got a couple of cool toys you guys can see in my other videos. Ask me to grab one of my toys off of the shelf. In fact, thank you for the hat. What I have done, guys, is I bought this really cool Ghostbusters kind of clock thing. So just ask me to take the Ghostbusters clock off my shelf, and I will grab it, and I'll show it to you, and I'll put it back, and then you know you're talking to the real me. If anyone's flashing a passport, do any of you think for a second that I'm going to grab my passport and show it to you online? Absolutely not. Screenshot. Now you've got all my information. Now you can fake it. But there was a couple of guys who faked my passport. Wrong middle name, wrong spelling of my last name, wrong birth date. Some chick's name was at the top of it. And it actually has fooled 3 different people. I'm not flashing my passport. I'm not talking to you in direct messaging. I'm not asking you for money until we've actually had our meeting. Then you get an official quotation from either me or my team. Then you know it's legitimate. Okay, that's out of the way, everybody. Now, everyone's asking me what my thoughts are on the Gordie Howe Bridge. Oh, my God. Carney is either the dumbest man alive, dumber than Trudeau, or he's the most brilliant man alive, and he is deliberately trying to bankrupt the country. So here's the deal. What is it, $6 billion to build this bridge? And then Trump says, you know, Carney, I don't like you very much, and I'm just going to go ahead and take all the money on this bridge. And Carney says, oh, okay. So he's a complete pussy when it comes to dealing with Donald Trump. Complete. But then he gets on TV and he's all brave-like. And unfortunately, a lot of people are hearing this idiot talk on TV, and they're all going, yeah, elbows up, elbows up, elbows up. Does anyone even know what that means? Mark Carney is not doing a good job for Canadians. Mark Carney is doing a great job for his bosses. His job is to come to Canada, where he hasn't even lived for 10 years before getting here, to bankrupt the country, put it into receivership, remove private property rights from all of you, commandeer your land, leave you out in the cold, and pay off all of his banker friends that he owes money to all over the world, and maybe retire absolutely rich beyond reproach. And we're no longer of the moral and ethical code in our society, folks, or societies plural, where leaders, with the exception of Donald Trump right now, where leaders want to enter the history books as someone great. Everyone wants to make money now, and they do not care how history is going to judge them. Now, I suppose they could be thinking, who cares? I'm going to be dead soon anyway, and the human race is not going to be around for much more than another 1,000 years. Well, if we go along this pathway of the way we're breeding right now, which is we're not breeding properly as a species, yeah, we're going to be gone. I mean, the South Koreans are down to 0.78 kids per family. It's crazy. Canadians are below 2. We don't have replacement value. So maybe he doesn't care, because maybe there'll be no more human beings in 1,000 years to read and write history. Could be. Who knows? I'm not part of the upper echelon, so I really can't tell you, but I do know what they do in the way of taxes, and I pull all the stunts in taxes that they do, and that is why I am wealthy, and all my clients, once we remove them from the tax system, are also very wealthy. So could you imagine, and I'm going to address the first question here, could you imagine, folks, you make $100,000 a year, but you get to keep it all? Wouldn't that be great? What if you could keep it all? In Ontario, you pay about $26,500 in deductions. So you get $73,000 and change at the end of your check. But what if you could actually keep the whole $100,000? That's what I do, using the same tactics that all of our politicians use. Remember when Trump was kind of laughing on stage when he was debating Hillary, and said that, of course, he takes advantage of all of the tax loopholes out there. That's how he got rich. Well, I know the tax loopholes, but the tax rules, the tax procedures, and I know the law in general, which is why when you come to me to get your taxes done, folks, you ain't paying anymore. All right, I had a really good question here. It's a bit detailed, but here we go. I don't know anything about crypto. Should the average Canadian own any crypto? If so, which ones? Where do I buy them? And how do I keep them safe? All right, well, we'll address it piece by piece here. Should the average Canadian own crypto? If you're looking to retain wealth, gold, silver, crypto, correct. I don't think that the average person out there is going to be able to afford a house, especially considering the fact that houses right now are unbelievably expensive, where you have $1.4 million for crap. I mean, literal junk built out of plywood and Tyvek paper. Those are selling for over $1.5 million in a lot of cases. No, you're never going to be able to buy a house in Canada. The properties are not worth it. The property taxes keep going up because our politicians absolutely suck. They're not business people. They're just losers. And you've seen how the United Nations, utilizing the natives, are taking court cases now into court, and white liberal judges are handing entire towns over to native clans who don't even exist anymore, by the way. It's actually the UN doing it. So to buy property is foolish. They're going to take your private property rights away. Dumb. Crypto, if you play the game smartly, you can't have it taken from you. So which crypto? So I'll tell you what crypto I'm buying, and everything else, just assume that I'm not buying it for the reasons I'm going to tell you right now. Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the new gold. I mean, it's not going to hold its value forever. Other cryptos will eventually take it over. But Bitcoin, if you hold at least 3, you're going to have a lot of financial security if you choose to not live in Canada and live somewhere like, I don't know, Panama, where 3 Bitcoin, if they are indeed worth $500,000 in 5 years, you could cash a little bit out at a time. I've told you before, guys, gals, ladies and gentlemen, and you saw the menu for yourselves on my TikTok channel. I go to a restaurant where everything on the breakfast menu is less than $7. I mean, pancakes, $3, bacon, $2.50. You know, extra side of bacon is 95 cents. Cup of coffee's $1. Yeah, you can live like a king if you have some Bitcoin and you just want to cash it out a little bit at a time. XRP, XRP is fantastic because XRP can perform 40,000 transactions per second all around the world. It's cheap. I moved $500,000 in XRP. It cost me less than $2 in fees to do it. And it was instantaneous. All right. It was less than 10 seconds. The money arrived. XRP also, guys, right now it's about $1.60 Canadian, if I got it right from this morning. Everyone says it's going to go to $1,000. In 10 years, it could, yeah. Right now, it's going to remain less than $2 because it's artificially being held back. But next year in the bear market, I suspect it's going to be somewhere around 5 or 6. So you could make 5 or 6 times your money on that. Now, when I say 5 or 6, I'm talking Canadian dollars, folks. They're talking like $3.95 to $4.50 US. I'm talking 5 or 6 Canadian. But I'm not going to sell it. I'm hanging on to it. All of my crypto is something I'm hanging on to. Next one would be Ethereum. All right. Why? Is because the millennials are really thank you very much for that, because millennials are really into Ethereum. You can do a lot of purchasing of digital content with Ethereum. The problem with Ethereum, the reason I don't like it is they're called gas fees. It's just the fee to transfer the Ethereum. It's high. I don't like paying that kind of fee to transfer, but I do like the fact that if I say Ethereum, everyone says, oh yeah, I'll take that. It's a very easy cryptocurrency to move. Look at this. We got 43 pineapples. Wow. Thank you so much. We're at 850 likes, by the way. Let's go. Let's get this up to 10,000 right now, please. Everyone, 2 fingers, 2 fingers, 2 fingers. Get rocking and rolling there on the TikTok screen. Now, Solana, this is a very interesting one. Solana is one that a lot of the dorks, the geeks, the computer programmers, the quantum computer guys, they're all into Solana. There's a lot of network trading going on and a lot of selling going on with guys who know how networks work. Trump announced that they want to tokenize the entire water supply of the United States. If he does that, he was talking about using the Solana network. So right now, with Solana being about $105 per coin, I own quite a few of them. It's not a bad idea to get your hands on maybe $50,000 or $60,000 worth and wait to see what Trump's going to do with tokenization of that water supply. It's pretty remarkable. Quant, I haven't done all my research into it, but there's a professional that I spoke to and recommended to hold at least $20,000 to $30,000 worth of it. So I grabbed that and I'm sitting on it. HBAR, absolutely. I dumped over 100K into HBAR. Thank you so much for all those gifts, folks. I really appreciate that. I dumped over 100K into HBAR. XLM is another good one. It's going to be around for a while. And then, of course, you want USDC. I don't like USDT. I prefer USDC because that's another incredibly easy crypto to spend and to collect. Give you an example is I'm about to buy another condominium in a place called Santa Maria. It's where all the really rich gringos go. I can buy a condo there on USDC, and it's incredibly easy. I've told you all about my contacts down here in Panama and Grenada and the Cayman Islands. I could move, if you had $100 million, up to $100 million a day, move it down here and turn it all into USDC, and you could buy as many condos as you want because there are very few condo corporations and business owners in Panama and Costa Rica who will not take USDC. I would rather have USDC over currency, cash, any day of the week. But here's the thing. For those who do not understand crypto, better get reading something on it now. You need to understand it because all currencies are going to go digital in the future. Let me explain how currency works for those who don't fully comprehend it. There was a day when seashells were currency. There was a day when we had things called tally sticks, where you had a stick, literally a walking stick, and you would put your stick up against someone else's stick, and both of you would notch in a certain shape at the same time so that you both knew that the transaction had taken place. Like that stick was currency. Now, in a collapsed economy, sorry, ladies, but you know, your bodies can be currency, you know, prostitution and so on, currency. You know, or if you're really, really gorgeous like me, you know, they all want a piece of me, so I could probably make a lot as one, but cigarettes are currency. When everything falls apart, cigarettes, alcohol, food, medicine, warm clothing. Those things are currency when people don't care about money. However, regardless of what the movies tell you and regardless of what the conspiracy theories tell you and so on, no one's launching nukes, okay, guys? You fire one nuke at one area, you're going to shut down a whole ton of the banking system. Everybody out there wants to have the countries. They want and they need to have their digital banking systems running at all times. Throw a nuke at some major city, all of the cables melt immediately, and everything just stops dead in its tracks. So that's not going to happen, everybody. Digital currency is here to stay. But if you understand it well before it becomes the norm, then you can get rich off it. And as I've told a lot of you in the past, I made a lot of money in the Bitcoin game. I bought in between 18,000 and 25,000 Canadian. It skyrocketed. I sold a little bit of it to be able to put money down to get my life rebuilt. And when it went back down from over 120,000, I bought more. And now, and I was joking about this, but I'm actually kind of happy about it. My entire crypto portfolio is down about $600,000 because the whole market did this. It went bear bull market. All right, it's bear right now, means it's low. Now, why is it low? People say, Trump, it's his fault, Trump. It's Trump. It's not Trump. It's because everyone turned their attention towards SpaceX. Elon Musk, you don't have to like him. You don't have to hate him. You just have to understand the guy is on the spectrum. And when he wants to market something, he will. And he will do it very well. So everyone began investing in that. People were investing in green energy, and people were investing heavily in AI. And none of the four were making any money for anyone. So people are starting to come back to the crypto market. That's how it is. People they're believing the hype. Now, I certainly hope that Elon figures out how to launch people and their pets into space. Well, I think that's crazy, but let him do it. Good for him. Yay. I'm not investing in SpaceX. I'm going to stick with properties that I know that I can A, rent out, B, leverage by taking HELOCs or loans against them, or C, tokenizing. And that is something that I am looking at right now, is tokenizing every single property that I own to raise money to buy more properties and then tokenize those. I actually would love to have my own crypto, everybody, that is based not on speculation, but based entirely on the ownership of assets, like really awesome condos. I've got some really awesome condos down here. I would gladly put them all into a corporation and then tokenize them. But the market is volatile. The point I wanted to make with me losing 600K, next year, it's all coming back. It's going to come back, and it's going to go beyond that. One of the biggest problems here, crypto goes down, everybody panics and they sell. They sell. Stock market goes down, everyone panics and they sell. At the low end, everyone's selling. Smart guys like me are buying. And then the market goes right back up and everyone starts buying. I don't get it. Folks, come on. It is buy low, sell high. Or buy low, hang on to, borrow against it when it's high. You can do that too. This is something that I'm looking at right now, is creating a financing program where, let's say you've got crypto. Let's just say, for argument's sake, Bitcoin next year skyrockets to 400 grand a coin. Let's just say, for shits and giggles, you would go to me and say, hey, we've got this much Bitcoin. We'd like to borrow the equivalent amount in money and utilize the Bitcoin as collateral. So a smart lender will say, all right, we'll do that deal. We create an interesting interest payment plan, which we will take in a combination of cash and Bitcoin. And then eventually, when the guy doesn't pay, we hang on to the balance of the Bitcoin, and it's going to go back up at some point in the future. It'll go bear and bull. So the lender could be grabbing millions of dollars of Bitcoin at one time and just sitting on it, waiting for it to go back up. And the other reason I'm really big into property, gold, silver, and crypto is I am not going to invest a single penny in Canada for at least the next 10 years. For me to want to have anything to do with that country, that ridiculous communist dump, it can no longer be communist, which means we've got to get some strong, true conservative individual in there who does not care how they are perceived by the weaklings, the left wing out there, to take charge and fix the country the right way. Now, there was a day when I wanted that job. I don't want that job anymore. But I'm saying that I would tell you that I would be like Trump 2.0. I'd clean everything right up, exactly as he's doing it. But I would go one step further, grab all the liberals who destroyed the country, lock them up for life for treason. In fact, I wouldn't even make it a very fancy prison. Just get some old high school, put all the bars in the windows and whatnot, small courtyard, completely caged in, and just say, here you go. And then once a day, maybe by helicopter, drop some porridge. So they have to go out in the grass and eat like cows. That's something I would absolutely love to do. But I also do not want to run for public office again. I've done it 3 times. I can tell you this, it brings out the strangeness in people. Yeah, it really does. And this is TikTok. I can't really get into, how cool it was to run for mayor of Calgary. But I'll tell you this, folks. Guys, if you want to meet a lot of ladies, run for public office. I'm just going to say that. I'm not going to tell the stories. I'm just going to say run for public office. That's all I'm saying. You can fill in the blanks on your own. So there you go, folks. Yes, everyone should own crypto. The currencies are all going to expand. And I'm getting a question here. Did you lose all 3 times? Yeah. The first time I ran for mayor in Mississauga, 2014. I just wanted to know how the entire political process worked. That's it. I had 0 intentions, folks, of actually winning the 2018 election. Had a chance to meet a lot of people, had a chance to learn just how weak the entire system really is. It's horrendous. I ran again in 2018 in Mississauga, and I placed 2nd. No, but didn't win. However, when I placed 2nd, I terrified the entire establishment, folks. And there was a Crown attorney. His name is John Kingdon. Complete loser. He's this tall. He thinks he's tough because he's a Crown attorney and he can call his friends to the police station. But, one-on-one, this guy would just cry. He'd crap himself. That's probably why he just stays in the Mississauga, Brampton area, because he knows there's a lot of people looking for him. Now, they want to chat with him. He's an evil individual. This guy tells me if I ever run for public office again, he's going to lock me up for 5 years. Yeah, he told me that right in the Brampton courthouse. I said, well, that's not very sporting of you, and gosh darn it all the heck, I really wish I had recorded that. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. And I just walked away. Told him, I got a lawyer. Go talk to my lawyer. Why are you talking to me? This guy, just so you guys understand how much your tax money is being wasted, all right, this guy has been chasing me in the courts now for 9.5 years. Yes. He really, really wants to make sure that because I cracked some jokes in 2017 that I go to jail. Yeah, it's ridiculous. And for those who also remember when I ran for mayor of Calgary, here it is for folks on YouTube. I wasn't wearing a mask during that COVID nonsense. Everyone knows that I was absolutely dead set against the concept. And the Calgary police followed me in a helicopter for 2 days, taking telescopic photographs of me. And I'll say this, folks, I look really good from 2,000 feet in the air. I'll tell you that right now. Like up here seems to be the magic camera angle for me. They followed me for 2 days. They spent $275,000 to follow me in a helicopter to see if I wasn't wearing a mask. I was on social media all the time. Of course I wasn't wearing a mask. You guys could all see that I wasn't wearing one, and I wasn't going to wear one. All right. So next question we have here is, this is going to be a lengthy one. Here we go. I'm confused. My accountant says an RRSP saves me taxes, but last week you said that, it's misspelled a bit here. Sorry, let me decipher it. But last week you said it was really just deferred taxes. Which one is right? Okay. If a CPA tells you something in Canada, he's wrong. If you're listening to a CPA, they're wrong. They're wrong. I'm right. Anything to do with taxes or the law, I'm right. Because I am the one the CRA is terrified of, and they should be, because I think they know how much I despise them. CPAs, however, and tax lawyers in Canada, for whatever the reason, are positively terrified of the CRA. So they're telling you what they believe to be correct from the standpoint of, well, we all have to pay taxes because someone said, because the income tax act said. That's how they are. So they'll tell you whatever the government tells them to say. The government said back in the 1980s, and guys, I'll never forget it. My mother, like, oh my God, did you hear the good news? You don't pay tax anymore. What the hell are you talking about, Ma? Yeah. She was one of those people, watches CBC and CTV and all the other crap in the country. And they told her that having an RRSP would make it tax-free. So she forced this crap on the two of us, my brother and I, when we were young. And eventually I figured out what they were and I cashed them out. I lied and said that my RRSP is being used towards buying a first home. I didn't get taxed on it. They asked me about it a few years later. I said, I have no idea what you're talking about. I've never owned an RRSP. And that's where it ended. But the RRSP, folks, the Registered Retirement Savings Plan, is not a tax haven of any kind. You're allowed to put money into it, which will reduce your income, taxable income, but then when you cash it out, they will tax the crap out of it, between 30 and 48%. And as I covered in that show, the banks will look you in the eye, they will lie to you and tell you, oh, the law says that we have to charge tax. It's the law. We don't want to go to jail. So we take 30% and give it to the CRA because. And as I covered with all of you, it's not the law. It is CRA policy, which is not law. So these RRSPs are going to get taxed. At one point or another, you're going to pay tax. Deferring tax is great if your plan is to defer tax all the way till the day you die, and that you are not going to be transferring any of the liabilities of your entire financial life to your kids, or your wife or spouse, girlfriend, boyfriend, dog, whatever it is. If you're not transferring any of those liabilities, you're going to be just fine. So one of the tricks is that we pull at our end is that when someone dies, we tell them, if your dad, mom die, if someone dies and they own all the property and all the money and whatnot, make sure you contact me and my team. Immediately, we're going to tell you, calm it down. Go, grieve, forget paperwork for the next 3 days. Just forget paperwork. Paper's not important. You all need that time to grieve. The idea of ceremonial burial, for example, is something that elevated our species a little bit for us to recognize the fact that we had a very short time on the planet. That's all that it was. Ceremonial burial is something that I do feel, everyone, is necessary for our species to bring about closure. I can't stand that word, but closure is what everyone likes to say. Good. Have closure. Then what we do is we deal with everything afterwards. Example, we're going to look at the dead person's RRSPs and TFSAs and anything registered with the government. First thing we look at. And then we say, all right, we're going to cash these things out immediately. And as soon as all that's done, we're not telling the CRA about it at all. Instead, what we do is we're going to tell the CRA between 3 and 5 years later, and then we remove you as the executor. That's right. You are allowed to be the executor just long enough to ensure that we are done. Yes, sir. No, throw it out. It's garbage. Go. Close. Hey, Jesus Christ, man. Get out of here. Thank you. Go. Hey, thank you. Piss off. Jesus Christ, man. Sorry, guys. I threw my speaker in the hallway in a fit of rage today, and I got some asshole showing up here. Give me my speaker back. What a fucking idiot. Lock that door. Jesus. How the fuck did he open that door? All right, everyone, I'm going to go and have to have a little chat with that. Sorry, guys. Something I do not like is being disturbed when I'm working. Wow. Apologize for the little bit of anger there. Oh, and just for the record. Yeah. I did lose my cool on the speaker. It wouldn't connect to anything, and I threw it down the hallway, and it fell apart. This guy wants to give it back to me. There you go. Satisfying sound effect. All right. So the removal of you as the executor of the will of the estate is a great thing for you because now the CRA has nobody to chase. So let me get back to a point that I was making here, folks, is that the executor gets screwed. We make sure you're not the executor, and we also make sure that when somebody is on their final legs. Let's say someone knows they've got stage 4 cancer. That's a good time to get a hold of me, because we're going to cash everything out that we possibly can, or transfer your RSPs elsewhere, leave less than $10 in the account, and then that way, whoever does inherit that only gets the $10 out of the deal, or the $10 debt, if you will, and we wipe all that out too. Guys, look, it's confusing, I know. In this head here, it all makes sense. We do this every single day, all right? And I mean every single day. Okay, next question here. How old am I? 54. I'm a public figure. Just go to Wikipedia. It tells you. My God. All right. And what do I think about status Indians? What does that question mean? What do I think of status Indians? I mean, if you're able to get your hands on a status Indian card and not pay tax anymore, then good for you, I guess. I'm sorry, guys, that question seems incredibly incomplete. So I'm going to move on to the next one. Should I be married or not on my tax returns? Canada Revenue Agency sent me a letter asking me about my marital status. That's weird. That's not a common letter they send out, but no. Keep your business to yourself. All right, that's what you do. Do not tell the CRA that you are married, because at that particular point, you're going to be giving up on some various benefits, such as, let's say the two of you have kids. Both of you, if you never told the CRA that you're married and you never indicated who the kids are, can get the child tax benefit credit. Yeah, you can. Can't pull that stunt if you are married on paper. I know a lot of you think that there's some kind of tax break that you get if you're married. It's not true. There is no tax break for being married at all. So I'm absolutely going to say that it's a foolish idea to share with anybody anything about your personal lives at all. Also, I'm gonna merge this question with another one. What is this whole thing I keep saying about the right to remain silent? Well, it's the same thing I'm answering the question right now, folks. So, like, shut up. Don't tell anybody anything about you. Don't tell people your middle name. Don't tell people your weight and height. Don't tell people who you're married to. Don't tell people who your friends are. Don't tell people who your children are. You know, I managed to get into social media. I think Facebook had to have been 22, 23 years ago. I never put my kids, and when I was married at the time, I never put the lady on there either. I never put my family on my social media postings. That's not anyone's business. In fact, I would put down on Facebook, divorced, married, divorced, figuring it out, complicated. I just keep switching the status up so that nobody knew what to believe. And then for a short while there, it was actually pretty cool. Early AI for designing graphics was pretty terrible. So what we would do is this. People were always trying to sniff around and find out information about me when I was running for mayor of Calgary. So we used AI very badly. We had to do a lot of touching up to have me in a family portrait, you know, smiling like this with a black wife and a bunch of half white, half black kids. And then we did the same thing, me and a Chinese wife and so on. So we put all of these images out there. I had to convert them to black and white to make them a bit more believable, folks. But I started producing misinformation out there as a public figure so that nobody would know what to believe. Is he married to a white chick, a brown chick, black chick? Who's he married to? No one knows, because I was deliberately putting that kind of information out to thwart any and all efforts. Because everyone wants to try to hurt you in some particular way. And I'll tell you this, guys, it worked. Even the cops didn't know who I was married to. Now, you guys remember when I was running for mayor of Calgary that I was arrested over and over and over and over again. They didn't want me winning. But it was really funny that these cops would never think to cover the screen in their cars. And I'm reading my entire dossier on the screen. You know, they had my address in Calgary as a post office box, because in the province of Alberta, you can actually put a post office box down as your home address. They didn't know where I lived. Yeah. It says marital status, question mark. Children, question mark. They just didn't know because of all the misinformation I had put out. And somebody is saying, come and run for mayor in Toronto. Toronto is left-wing freak central. All I would be doing is setting myself up for heartache and pain. Not because I care about what the left-wing nuts have to say about me, but because I would be speaking genius level, IQ 152, and I'd be speaking to a city full of morons. Toronto is not a smart place. It just isn't a smart place. And I don't want to be in a position where I'm trying to bring intellectualism and great ideas and economic ideas to a populace who don't understand what I'm talking about. And Olivia Chow, this maniac mayor that you all voted for, I've got no idea why. You notice how her eyes are like all screwed up? You know why that is? Vaccine injury. She is screwed. Like her body is just cooked. She was on camera getting the needles all the time. And it's affected her brain too. She didn't sound as ridiculously dumb 15, 20 years ago when she was married to Jack Layton. She certainly sounds moronic now. You see what she does? She drinks a lot of booze and walks around in public in really bizarre costumes where she's almost like 3/4 naked. But that is what I would be up against. And you know everyone's going to vote for her. You just know it. It's a waste of time. I also, folks, after seeing the destruction of Canada at the behest of the Canadian people who chose to sit back and watch it happen and criticize guys like me and Pat King and Chris Sky. Who else do we have? Archer Pawlowski. There's a couple others. Like seeing how about 75% of the population can be misled in life by the media. I don't want to be in charge of that. There is nothing that I would say or do that would be comprehended by anybody who had the capacity to make the changes that I would want to make. So forget it. Toronto is cooked. You know what the solution is for TO? A 25 kiloton nuclear warhead. Possibly, why don't we just go 5 megatons? That should clean everything up, including my hometown of Mississauga, a place that I have zero use for. And I mean zero. I'm out. I have absolutely no emotional attachment to the province of Ontario in any way, shape, or form. All right, next here. All right. Sorry, folks, I will not be answering questions about my family. Nope. No point asking any of that. All right. Why did I pick Panama out of all the countries out there? Well, because I tried Mexico and I didn't like it. Can't make money in Mexico. Costa Rica is so ridiculously overpriced that I can't believe anybody lasts there for longer than 5 months. I mean, it bankrupted me in 5 months. You can't make money there. It's expensive. You know, 27, 32, 35 bucks for a hamburger. It's ridiculous, man. Uber Eats. Here, you know what I'm going to do? Let me show you something here. Let me show you guys something, all right? Because I want to make a point and I want to make it the right way. Let me go to Uber. I'm going to go to Uber Eats right now. And I'm going to make sure that the camera can't see my phone number because you people are not going to get that. I know I'd never sleep. I'd never sleep again. Oh, sorry, it's taking its sweet time getting launched here. I think I've got too many devices on the Wi-Fi. So let me turn off the Wi-Fi. All right, it's going to take its sweet time. Anything at all to irritate. Technology is just going to do anything to irritate me tonight. Okay. Does anybody know how on Uber I can skip having to give somebody stars? That's what's making it crash. The last ride, it says, rate the drive. I don't want to do that anymore. Too old for the nonsense. I don't want to press buttons. All righty. So my favorite burger joint in this place is called Fat Lady Burgers. That's literally the name, Fat Lady Burgers. Fat Lady Burgers is run by a family. It is it's not even a restaurant. It runs out of a shipping container, and right outside is a roof made of shipping container parts welded by a monkey. And that's why I love it. It's got character. So we're looking now. Here we go. Fat Lady Burger, $5.56 with 20% off. All right. Here we go. Let's see here. Look at these prices there. $5.56. chicken burger, or the Chacalita burger, which I've had before. It's got onions, it's got bacon on it, it's got cheese, $7.20. And again, 20% off because I paid an extra $10 to Uber for this. So here, folks, there you go. Look at that. Look at these prices. So why did I stay in Panama? Well, it resonated with me right off the hop. I mean, it's a beautiful place. Panama City is ultra modern. The people are awesome. The food is delicious and cheap. And I just stayed. I mean, that's all it was. I found my place and I just stayed. Once I got a taste for the culture and whatnot, I couldn't believe how much I scored in picking Panama City as the place to be. Couple of quick things, folks. Why am I in Panama? I can do really cool things like, let's see, November rolls around. There are 3 national holidays. We've got Flag Day, we've got Independence Day from Spain, Independence Day from Colombia, and all 3 of these days are a 5-hour parade through the streets, parties all night, water balloons, all that stuff, man. It's absolutely remarkable. I love it. It's great. You guys you've seen my office. I've shown you how my studio looks like in here. Studios cost me $1,250 a month to be right downtown in the banking district. I worked out what the internet is. I paid $600 for the internet, including the router and the repeaters. And that's it for the whole year. And then we got electricity. I've got studio light, studio light, studio light, studio light. I got 6 lights on me. No, I don't. I have 7 lights on me right now. TV, 2 lights in behind. I got lights over here. I got computer running, air conditioning's running, everything's running. And it's running almost all the time. My electrical bill is about $200 a month. Yes, everything's in USD, guys. Get this Canadian idea out of your friggin' heads. I hate Canadian. I'll tell you if it's Canadian. Nobody wants Canadian dollars. But think about it, guys. What's $600 USD for a year worth of internet? Super high speed with all the actual equipment, plus the installation. Everything's there. $870 for the entire year. I seem to recall when I was living in Calgary, I was paying $165 for high-speed internet with Bell Canada. Yeah. But on top of that, I was also paying about $175 for not 1, but 2 cell phones with unlimited talk and text and data where they would share the data plan. Yeah, it's just too much money because here you can buy SIM cards off the street with absolutely unlimited talk, text, and data for $5. Yeah. I mean, if you're going to come down to Panama, don't buy a flash card or a SIM card, sorry, at the airport. Just go to one of the little convenience stores somewhere. You'll see a company called Mobile, orange with a white text. Yeah, $5. $5, right? I mean, you'll eventually get tired of getting a new SIM card every single week. That's how I did it. But when you do and you finally get yourself a plan, it's only about $25 a month for unlimited everything. It's awesome. Guys, why am I in Panama? Because it's affordable for everybody. And now that I am making millions of dollars, everything seems like pocket change to me now. I've gotten to the point where $100 feels like about $1.80 to $2 to me. It's not a big deal anymore. Whereas when I was living in Canada, $10 was my entire life. I would guard that $10 with my life. That's how broke I was being in Canada. So there are better options out there, everyone. And I'm actually heading to Colombia again shortly so that I can go and have a look at all kinds of land for sale because Colombia's got great deals on land and their food's even cheaper. Yeah, it's even cheaper. There are places around the world where you can live like a god. And it's not going to be in Canada ever again. So, why stay, folks? Why stay? All right. Next, what we got here? Okay, let me check the YouTube room for questions here, folks. Okay. Do you think crypto will bounce from here on expectation on the Clarity Act, or do you think the Senate will push further until next year? Well, I think right now there's a huge advantage to deliberately and artificially keeping XRP and some of the more important coins down. But when the Clarity Act comes in place, it's all going to go up just because people believe in the product more. Once there's a bit of legislation behind it, it's going to explode, man. Absolutely. How do you stop the bank from withholding money while cashing out RSPs? All right, good. Told you last week, I figured the whole thing out. You would transfer your RRSP to my brokerage house in Ontario. And at that point, we are going to invest it because you are allowed to self-manage and you are allowed to third-party manage your RSP. And we're going to get you your entire amount plus 5%. Now, the only caveat to that is it takes 18 months to do it. All right, there you go. We're going to invest heavily. I know how to invest. Once I got out of that communist shithole, Canada, my investment started ballooning because I was no longer plagued by the crazy left wing, by loser cops coming to my house all the time, telling me, you can't say that, you shouldn't say this. We've been told to come down here and tell you the mayor doesn't like it when you talk about him. Yeah, guys, that happens. Happens all the time. And now you've got this Bill C9 nonsense that got rushed into law a couple of weeks ago. How many of you out there have already had phone calls from loser cops in Canada asking you what you meant when you said that thing on social media 6 years ago? They are retroactively looking at everyone's account to find ways to charge you, to put you in the system so that the only people that walk around free are the psychotic loony left. Why would you want to be in that place? Why would you invest in somewhere like that? Think about it, folks. It's pretty wild and crazy. All right, so the RSP thing now is we're going to make a ton of money on your RSPs, all right? I am not being stopped by Canada to invest. In fact, there are no regulations in Panama, in Grenada, in Colombia, or anywhere else that would stop me from investing properly for profit. And I've proven to you, yes, I'm very, very good at it. And the difference between me and everyone else is that when it comes time for you to actually get all your investment back, I am not withholding that 30%. The CRA can contact you whenever they want, but because we're not closing or canceling your RSPs, we're never going to close them. They can't do anything about it. And you get all the benefit. And I am the only one with balls enough to do this. The CRA says in their policy, not the law, in their policy, we might hold you accountable if you don't hold the taxes. How? You gonna put a gun to my head? What are you gonna do? You gonna put bamboo under my fingernails? Eh? You gonna show up and exhale with your bad breath on me? What exactly are you gonna do, CRA? I'm in business to make money, and I work really, really hard for that money. My team works really hard for that money. We certainly are not going to be giving it away to the CRA because they say that they want it, because they quote some passage in the Income Tax Act. The Income Tax Act does not pertain to you or you or you or anyone else watching this show. It pertains to the CRA. It allows the CRA to write policy, and then the CRA plays every dirty trick in the book to enforce that policy. There we go. Are your GST and payroll services affordable for new businesses? Yes, Naomi. Yes, because we don't actually charge you for it, right? We don't charge you for our payroll or GST and HST services, period. We pay you. You don't pay us. It is the most unbelievable system going. This is how freaking clever I am, folks, is that I will be doing all your tax returns for you, and you don't pay me for that when you are signed up on the payroll and the GST program. All right. What is the third commission fee, and how is that paid? I'm sorry. What's the third commission fee in your mind? Could you clarify that for me, please? Let's have a look here. How do we stop the bank from withholding money? Well, you don't. They're going to do it anyway. They're going to lie right to your face. You could charge them criminally. You could sue the individual bank manager. You could sue the bank. You sue them all, but you won't do it. And that's why they just give your money away. Look, guys, I've been training my artificial intelligence for between 2 and 3 years now, depending which one it is. I've got them all, DeepSeek and Claude and Perplexity, ChatGPT. I have them all. Now, whenever I started working with them in the first place, all these things would tell me, oh, you have to do this because here's the Income Tax Act. And then as I'm conversing with these AIs, explaining everything to them, the AI begins to learn very rapidly that it's wrong. And the AI that I am working with has actually apologized for being incorrect and then agrees with me that there are no laws that say the banks have to do anything the CRA says. The banks have lawyers that they pay between $500 and $2,000 an hour to. These lawyers are pretty good because they have to be. The Department of Justice uses DEI hires with exceptionally low class and exceptionally low IQs. So if the CRA decided they want to tackle the banks in the court, the banks would smush them. But because none of you complain, because none of you put pressure on the banks, because none of you do anything to force the banks to pay attention to your disdain and contempt for their actions, they will continue to cooperate with the CRA and hand your money over. That's all they're going to do, period. All right, next. If I don't sever my ties with Canada and I set up a private U.S. common law trust and put rental properties in it to get a USA tax credit, do I have to report that to the CRA? Report nothing to the CRA. Bank accounts outside the country, property outside the country, earnings outside the country, airplanes, cars, vacation properties, private beaches, private clubs, whatever you have outside of Canada, you don't report it. Whatever you have inside of Canada, you don't report it. You exercise your right to remain silent. Shut the fuck up. That's how you keep your money. All of you out there, you look at these ridiculous 25 to 30 page tax returns and you go, oh, how am I going to fill this out? And you start just writing shit down inside of it. It's actually really, really irritating as a grown man. I'll be 60 in 6 years to see folks my age writing stuff down and answering questions just because the question is being asked. Cops, those losers in Canada, they have guns, pepper spray, flashlights, body armor, they got all that stuff. They even tell you, you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. Anything you tell the CRA can and will be used against you for them to assess a tax bill that you're not going to fight in the courts because, everyone says, I just want a comfortable life. I'm just going to do these taxes and tell them what they want to know so they leave me alone. That's how you react. And you ladies in Canada, that's what you do. Please, all of you, understand that the CRA has hired psychologists, psychiatrists. Like we're talking the war experts, the guys who know how to bring down countries, to write the policies and write the scripts for them to threaten you the correct way for you to give money to them. And I see this all the time when I'm doing consultations, especially with a married couple. It's not every day, and when I say all the time, I mean excessively common, where I've got women saying, I hate this. I just want them to leave me alone. Let's just give them the money they're asking for so they go away. And I have to tell them, as soon as you give the CRA money, they know that you're a sucker, and they're going to come back and keep asking for more. So the deal is, in some cases, I've had to tell guys, sir, I'd like your wife to leave the room. Because right now she's interfering with my thought process. She's incorrect on absolutely everything she has said, and she's going to guide you down the wrong pathway. You can play, whenever we do an interview, guys, or a consultation, I give you the recording. It's yours. You guys analyze it, do whatever you want with it. So ladies, I'm asking you, kindly, please, don't do that panic crap. That's what they want. Don't argue with your spouse. Argue with the CRA. Take all that energy that you're going to be putting into the crying and the screaming and put it into them. Give it to them. Like I take all of my hatred and contempt and disdain for the Canadian government, I give all of that to the CRA. That is what you all must do as well. Keep your households as a unified fighting force. Don't ever think that cooperating with a bully is going to get them to leave you alone. I've covered that topic many times. And as much as I would love to tell you what you should actually do to bullies, I can't, because the platforms of YouTube and Instagram and TikTok will take this video down. Rumble won't. Rumble, if I told you the truth about how to deal with these people properly, Rumble would actually let it slide, but the other ones would not. Yeah, there we go. And I told you Facebook didn't like my commentary about cartoons, and took me. You can't even criticize cartoons on Facebook. Forget that stupid platform. All right, let's move on to the Rumble Room here. Alrighty. Do I not worry about losing my wallet or keys, or if tech changes to transfer crypto? Well, as we've all learned, everybody, as technology changes, there's always an adapter, and there's always a new way of getting things to work. You know, like simple things. Europe is on 240 volt power and North America is on 120 volt power. And there's adapters to switch the voltage either way. Right? There's adapters. And when select things become out of date, there's always a way to move things forward. Like as an example, everybody, my lovely cell phone here, this thing is almost 10 years old. And it still does everything, with the exception right now of working with 2 different banks, because those banks require that, I don't know, I think scan or some chip inside the phone. And eventually this phone will stop working with everything. But now, guys, it's still working and it's out of date by 10 years. Am I concerned that I'm not going to be able to access my crypto at some point? No, I'm not, because I've got my own contingency plans, none of which I'll discuss with you, for my 24-word phrase to be absolutely safe. And all of you should do the same thing. Plus, I don't keep all my eggs in one basket. That's another mistake everybody makes. What if crypto exchanges shut down? Well, you know, big boys like Crypto.com and Binance, they're not going to be shutting down anytime soon. It's the small ones, the fly-by-night ones, they come up. And those are the ones that shut down. If it seems shady, it probably is in crypto. All right. So, everyone, moving on to the next batch of questions here. Can the CRA contact the bank for your truck loan and ask for payments? No. All right, guys. So the bank is not going to take their money and give it to the CRA, because they know you're not going to pay them back. You're going to go into a fit of rage and you're not going to pay the bank back. The bank will give them your money to zero, but they won't give them any more. So don't worry about that. Okay. It needs to be, support S. Okay, I don't care. Can you help me set up a corporation in Ontario? If yes, how much it would cost? Okay, Dean, well, yeah, it is. You need to let me know in advance what you're doing. Is it going to be a commerce company? Is it going to be a holding company? Do you need corporate bylaws? That is the most important thing. Lawyers charge about $20,000 to write corporate bylaws, but when you need corporate bylaws that dictate the shareholders' agreements and what the corporation is supposed to be, then what I'm doing here is we're charging $4,500 for the corporation and the corporate bylaws, 1/4 the price of a law firm. And the stuff I do is a whole lot better than any lawyer in Canada. I can promise you that. SR says, the bank is telling me to access my dead father's corporate bank account to get the document from the CRA. Okay, I need more info on that. What document are they looking for? Because as I've told all of you, whenever it comes to somebody dying in the family, shut up about it. Just be quiet. Don't start telling people anything. You take the death certificate to all the banks and you say, give me the money. You know, there's really no way for them to stop that. Sometimes the banks will tell you that you need to go to probate, but they can't force that at all. All you do, say, listen, guys, I'm not going to probate because I'm not paying for a lawyer, so you can feel more comfortable about me coming here and getting my dead father's money. I'll be back in a couple of days with a lawsuit. And you sue the bank for gross negligence or tort fraud, tort theft, anything at all. Just give them this massive lawsuit and tell them, guys, I'll settle out of court. Just give me the money. It is that simple, guys. Always, always, always be on the attack and go on the attack at all times. All right. What if your name is on the account? I'm sorry, what account are you talking about, guys? Don't give me vague questions. I need to know what the context of what you're trying to get at is, if you don't mind. Thank you so very much on that. All right. Am I on Twitter? Yep. KJJ Tax. That's where you're going to find me. KJJ Tax. How can I confirm that the person that reached out to me in Ontario is part of your team? Well, Mercer, did you utilize my website? Did you go to kevinjjohnston.com and fill out the form there? If you got a response from that website from somebody, why don't you put the first name of the person in the chat room right now, and I'll tell you if it's legitimate or not. But if you got, hey, if any of you are getting messages on TikTok right now from me, it's not me. My hands are here. How the hell could I be typing to you while I'm doing a live? And I have not authorized anybody to be talking to you on the live right now. So you are talking to a scammer. Discontinue, block them and stop speaking to them right now. I'm working in a health facility, but they're paying me as a contractor, so I'd like to open up a corporation. Okay, that's perfect. Yes, absolutely ideal. You should always be taking your money in corporations, period. And one of the other big things, folks, is when you do have a corporation, would you please stop putting yourselves on a T4? You know how stupid that is? Would you deliberately poke out one of your eyes just because you're not enjoying the movie that you're watching? You probably wouldn't. So why would you do something equally as dumb, have a corporation where money's going into it, and then pay yourself a salary? You go from paying 0 tax to paying 6 taxes just like that. And I know your accountants will say stupid crap to you like, well, we need you to pay yourself because, it's the law. It's not the law. It is not the law to make money in a corporation and then pay yourself because some loser at a CPA company tells you to. I'm telling all of you, if you've got a corporation, get a corporate Visa card and live your life out of the corporation. It's none of the CRA's business what you're doing with your money. The money just leaves the country anyway. What are you giving it away to them for? Period. CRA keeps calling me for my CERB repayment. Should I answer their call? Yes, you got to get the agent's name and phone number. You get everything about them, and then we can actually sue the individual agent for criminal harassment. Like tort harassment is actually what it is, and even file criminal charges against them. There you go. But guys, don't bluff. Don't bluff. You actually have to get it done. Go on the attack. And look, I know it's a pain in the ass. It's a pain in the court. The Canadian court system is a childish, meaningless, reprehensible shit show. It's just theater. That's all that it is. It's a pain in the ass. I cannot stand the Canadian court system. The Crown attorneys in Canada are a bunch of weak, liberal losers. And a lot of the judges, they really take themselves seriously. You know that whole thing about all rise and you all got to stand up? The honorable, and I hate that word, Judge Jerkoff is going to be presiding, and he walks in and he's got this deliberate walk so that his dress, a grown man wears a black dress to work all day. So he walks over, he's got a book in his hand, and this dress he wears kind of waves like this, side to side, and he does that thing. You know how women like in the 30s would always push their skirt down so they could sit in a chair and not have their legs exposed? Yeah, he does that like a chick and sits down. And then he says, Kurt's now in session. Yeah, Kurt's. It's supposed to be some official ceremony. It's nonsense. I know it's childish. It's stupid. But it costs your opponent, your enemy, a lot of money. My God, who would want to be a judge for a living? You sit there all day listening to people's bullshit stories all day long. And you're a dude. You're a guy and you're wearing a dress. I don't care. You can call it a gown if you want. It's a dress. It's a dress, right? And Chris, I have about 10 of you following me that I'm aware of. Imagine how many of them are out there. Yeah, guys, there's like hundreds now. Hundreds of fake accounts. If you get a DM or a message from me on TikTok, block it. It ain't me. Right? It ain't me. Real Kevin J. Johnston is my only one. All right? The rest are BS. Summer Breeze says, Lord, not you again. I take it that Summer Breeze is not a fan. And that is okay. But thanks for being a fan. All right. What about Canada Pension Plan and Old Age Pension Plan when you retire? Well, I don't know. It's going to be, the pension fund is going to be empty by 2032. That's a promise, everyone. Right now, most of my clients who come to me who have Canada Pension are making less than $1,000 a month. How do you live on $925 or $937 a month? You don't. It's a joke. Why would any of you want to put money into that? Buy crypto, man. Buy property in another country somewhere. Buy something of value. Don't pay into CPP and EI. Oh, someone here is called Chief Justice Willie Williams. Maybe he's a judge, maybe not. You wearing a dress, pal? I hope not. What are your thoughts on taking CPP out at 60? If you're able to swing it, where you could take your entire Canada Pension Plan out for the next 30 years all in one lump, you know you're going to pay a ton of tax on that. If you can do it, do it. Make sure I'm your tax guy. I can probably get you back about half of what you pay, roughly, and then be done with it. Oh, Summer Breeze says, you should know you've been to court more than most. That is true. That is true, everybody. The Canadian government made it very difficult for me to live a peaceful life by having me in the courts more than 460 times inside of 8 years, where I had to watch the, hear ye, the judge presiding over the court. Yeah. No one's had to endure more court crap in Canada than me. I doubt any Canadian citizen has ever been in court that many times. And I'm laughing at the whole thing. The system is a joke. Everybody who works in the court system is a weak individual who just loves telling people what to do, or they don't like telling people what to do, but they simply do not have the intelligence nor the imagination to be entrepreneurs. So they take that cushy, crappy job where their job is to harm as many people as possible in the shortest period of time. I don't respect anybody who works in that industry. And the court system in Canada is an industry, whether you think so or not. It's full of criminals. Mercer, that person is correct. That's exactly, yes. That individual works for me. That's correct. All right. Okay. I'm just having a look at your questions here, folks. Just reading this whole thing. Yeah, everyone, I agree. The court, actually, the entire Canadian system, it's a sham. All of it is a sham. Does the government allow you to take your CPP in a lump sum, say at age 60? If you win a court case, maybe. Private companies, yes, but you have to negotiate that, and you know they're going to pay the tax on your behalf. They're going to tell you that they're legally obligated to do so, and they're not. They're liars. All right, next. Okay. Having a quick look here, and let me just have a look now at the Twitter questions that we have, because we are live in a lot of places tonight, everyone. Okay. Honest question from Twitter. How are you plenty allowed to talk and say all this? In Canada, it's pretty close to controlled and censors. How are you pulling this off? Most have been kicked off with much less to say. Oh, okay. So what he's referring to is that on my Twitter account, I'm telling the truth. Nothing that I have said on Twitter is inaccurate according to law or according to fact. Now, the stuff I'm saying is very callous. Now, if you really want to know what's inside here and what I really think of society, follow me on Twitter. And this guy here, he calls himself K, which is fine, is got a maple leaf as a logo or an avatar, is asking me under Bill C9 how I can say everything that I'm saying about Canadians, the Canadian system, courts, and whatever else. And it's because I'm not in Canada. I am not subject to Canada's jurisdiction. I have not been inside the country for 3 years now. Now, Bill C9 does not apply to anybody who is a resident of another country. It is that simple. They probably think so, but it's not like I'm going to be able to be arrested. The RCMP is not flying to Panama or to Bogota, where I've got other properties. They're certainly not going to be flying to Montevideo and saying, Hey, Mr. Johnston, where's the RCMP? You know, you said that we're having sex with our horses on Twitter, so we're going to arrest you now and you're going to fly you back to Toronto. You really think that's going to happen? They're not, first off, they're not going to get the budget for it. All right. For whatever the reason, if it costs you and I $2,000 to take a direct flight to another city somewhere in the world, somehow the government's going to quote that as like $200,000. They're not going to put that kind of money to come in to get me. And the next big thing is, imagine being the RCMP and you make a phone call. Let's like Bogota Police, which is, I think this is the National Police of Colombia. Yeah. Hello, Mr. Colombia. My name is Constable Loser, and I'm with the Royal Canadian Mounted Pork. And we dress up in these really kind of gayish red and whatever jackets with gold buttons. And we shoot people for no reason. And we like to beat people up for no reason. And we are completely incapable of offering police services to the Canadian people. We have absolutely no skill sets whatsoever. And with all of our DEI hires, about 1/3 of our entire police force doesn't speak English. They speak Punjabi and Farsi and Arabic and blah, 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 and ooga booga. And we would like you to let us fly into your country with our stupid red uniforms and our horse and our guns and our badges. And we would like to arrest Kevin J. Johnston in downtown Bogota while he's dancing at some party eating shish kebab, so that we can bring him to Canada for saying that we have sex with our horses on Twitter. Sorry, do you think that's going to happen? It's kind of a question for all of you. It's not going to happen, and I'm going to continue saying what I want because I am so disheartened, disappointed, disgusted, and I have so much contempt for the entire Canadian system and about 75% of the Canadian populace for allowing it to happen and still continuing to believe that the Liberal Party is doing a great job, that I don't want to go back. And I'm going to tell people around the world how awful Canada is. And I'm going to tell my story. I'm going to be telling my story to every single government and media outlet around the world who wants to listen to it. And in fact, I'm testifying against Canada and a very, very bad man who did very, very bad things to children in Myanmar through his funding, through a series of restaurants all over the country. He was using it to fund it all. I'm going to be testifying against him and his lawyer and the Canadian government in Rio de Janeiro. And that's happening next year. And I'm going to request of the tribunal that I'm testifying in to please allow it to go live so that I can make a big deal of making sure that all of you can see me in a suit and tie for the first time in 3 years, testifying against the individuals and, of course, the country itself. So how am I getting away with saying it? I'm not in Canada. You know that if I was in Canada right now, that they would have arrested me, put me through some kind of secret court, and you'd never see me again. You all know that. Okay, another question here. I convert most of my Canadian into US dollars. I'm sorry, Mr. Bong, I do not know what you're trying to ask me there. The question doesn't make sense. Could you please reword that for me if you don't mind? All right, back to the YouTube room here. Okay, so Michael, you say you went to the courthouse to lay a private information and they didn't know what you were talking about? Well, they all know what you're talking about. They absolutely do. Look, if you guys, private information means that you are filing criminal charges against somebody bypassing the cops, because Canadian cops, like we've said, are absolutely useless. If a real crime happens, they won't do anything about it. But if you swear at the wrong point during mosque, they will arrest you. So what you have to do is bypass them, go to the courthouse, and just file the charges yourself. The form is free. It's in every courthouse. But I mean, you could actually go to the court website of the independent provinces that you actually reside within and ask for go to ChatGPT and ask it for the form to lay a private information. And then give me instructions on how to lay it in Manitoba, in BC, in Ontario. It'll tell you. No, guys, AI is a little bit cooler than you think it is. So when I open up a new corporation, I should not name myself as a director. Correct. But here's the deal. The director will be the identification that's required to open up a bank account. So I don't know, let's say you've got some out of work bum uncle who's a complete alcoholic and hasn't worked in 24 years. Make him the director, have him open the bank account, and then remove him as the director, and make sure that you change the passwords for the online banking, and you're good. Or you make yourself the director, you go open a bank account, 2 or 3, and then remove yourself as director. Ronald Reagan's fine. As a director, I don't care who it is. Ronald Reagan, Mickey Mouse. Remember Mighty Mouse? Or Herman the Mouse, remember him? And Catnip the Cat, Scurry Squirrel. Like, let's go back to the 20s for names. Who cares what the name is, so long as it's not you. To explain the director of a corporation is not the owner. The director of a corporation is actually not in charge. They don't direct the company. They are just the sucker that the CRA knows about. They're the sucker the CRA will chase for GST, HST, and payroll in the future. That's why the director of a corporation must be a fictional character. All right. Oh, here's one. What are my thoughts on the BC taxpayer who lost in tax court to the CRA for over contributions to the TFSA? She went to the wrong court. That's all it was. Right? She went to tax court is not a court. Tax court is a tribunal. That's why the judges who wear black dresses, all right, they have a purple sash. They're not judges. They're appeal tribunalists. Yeah, they're not even arbiters. They're just jerks in a dress with a purple sash. All right. In Canada's theater, the red sash across the black dress is a judge. The green sash across that is a justice of the peace. They're usually not even trained. Like, you could be a garbage man today and a justice of the peace tomorrow. Yeah. Now, they can make decisions, but because they always make mistakes, if any justice of the peace does anything you don't like, appeal it and you're going to win because they're idiots. I've never come across an intelligent justice of the peace who actually knew the law. Not once has that happened. And I hate the idea, I really do hate the idea of a justice of the peace who doesn't know anything about the law judging me, especially if they're a foreigner who doesn't speak English. That pisses me off. Something fierce. But we say diversity is strength. Somehow a judge who doesn't speak English, doesn't know the culture, doesn't know the law, and doesn't like Christians and doesn't like Buddhists and whatever else, somehow gets to judge what Canadians do. Yeah, I hate that whole thing. But you got to keep in mind, the purple sash is just a tribunalist from tax court. All right, so she went to an appeals tribunal and didn't sue the CRA. If she had sued the CRA for fraud, it would have been a completely different story. Go to the correct court, everybody. Okay, so Nomi is asking, can I get your company to do my corporate taxes for September 2027 and handle GST and payroll? Of course you can. Website, kevinjjohnston.com. All right, we will get that done for you. 100%. We love doing it. I believe Venezuela is going to replace Saudi Arabia. Oh, yeah. Yes, they are. Now, one of the issues with Venezuela is the oil that their country produces is that really thick, viscous stuff. And there's only one refinery in the States that can actually refine it. But that's not going to stop Trump from building new refineries that can refine it. And if we are able, as a society in the West, to bypass the entire Arab League at OPEC by mining Venezuela, because Canada's not going to mine oil. Oh, my God. So long as the Liberals are in charge, we're not going to be producing oil in Canada. So I will be heading down to Caracas soon and check out and see how worthwhile it's going to be investing in oil in Venezuela. Okay. What's a good prepaid Visa or MasterCard? I don't know, but I would recommend highly that you get into Airwallex and Wise. Those are really good banking programs. Get a Relay account in the USA. You want a Relay. They're like Tangerine. Get one of those. Really, really good. Chris says, hello, I need to keep all my RSPs. Chris, get a hold of me on my website, please. Put RRSP in the subject line, and we're going to get back to you on that one and get you fired up in the RRSP program. I'm not investing in SpaceX right now, folks. I want to see what's going on with it. And it's also because I have put out a lot of money in investments. I bought a lot of crypto, and I just bought another condo. It's absolutely gorgeous. It's beautiful. Yeah. I decided to up my game, everybody. You may or may not be proud of me, but I just bought a 4-bedroom, 5-bathroom condo with a massive kitchen, corner unit, huge windows, 10 feet wide, 8.5 feet high, 9-foot ceilings. You know, it's amazing. All right. It is that good. Rooftop pool, rooftop pickleball, rooftop soccer. It's got everything, man. I'm thrilled beyond belief with this place. So I'm not going to be investing in SpaceX just yet, but even though I'm paying almost $1 million for this condo, it'll be paid off in about 4 months. And then I'm going to start looking at investments as such. Okay, what's next here? How do I get an appointment with you? I filled out your form on your website. CGM. The quickest way is to go to my website and go straight to the consultation page and grab yourself a consultation there. Instead of asking for a consultation in the email thing, what will happen is when you talk to my site, and AI is going to get back to you on that one. And then from there, the AI is going to determine exactly what you want and put you in touch with the correct department. But the big thing here, folks, is to bypass all of that nonsense. Just grab a consultation. That's the best way to do it. Now, we are a big team now. There's 20 of us now, but we can't answer all those emails all of the time. So we're asking you, grab the consultation and be very specific in your messages. This is what I can tell you guys. I hate this when I get these messages. Hi, call me. I've got a tax problem. No name, no phone number, no email. Sorry, folks. I'm not even going to try to reply to that. Or someone says, I need to speak to you right away. I'm sorry. Who are you? What's your name? What's the tax problem? Why am I calling you? Don't just ask me to call you. It's not going to happen. How many hours do you think there are in a day? Okay? I know there's 24 and I'm working 14 of them, but those 14 hours are divvied up between consultations and reading case law, doing this show, reviewing what my staff are creating for me, reviewing legal letters, getting them out the door, sometimes representing people in tax court. It's a long day, folks. So I can't answer every single email out there. And if you're going to be vague, call me. It's not going to happen, okay? So please grab yourself a consultation. That's exactly how you bypass it all. If I'm not selling my house right now, how can I get it into a corporation? In every single province in the country, except for the Quebec and BC, we can just transfer it to a corporation, even if it's got a mortgage. Quebec, we have to use a notary for that. No big deal. But BC tied up all the loopholes there, and you've got to pay the land transfer tax. Or you sell the house for half of its value and pay tax on that. You are legally allowed to sell a house for less than what you paid for. My friend's dad, who made naan breads, became a justice of the peace. Hey, exactly. That's my point. A foreign baker, who puts garlic on bread, became a justice of the peace. Do you use your fictional name as the director after you set up the corporations? You change the directorship to the fictional name and just be done with it. It's over. That's all. Eventually, the CRA will get a copy of the documentation, and they'll make a phone call saying, could I speak to Ooga Booga Smith, please? Because, that could be your name. Yeah. One of my buddies there was writing down funny names like Chap You Lick Me. Right? So, Chester Chap You Lick Me. That was the name he put in there. He hasn't got a phone call yet, but I'm sure he's going to break out laughing if he ever does. Yes. Hello, Chester Chap You Lick Me. That'd be hilarious to hear that kind of thing. Yeah, have fun with it, guys. Okay. Thank you, folks, on the congratulations. Yeah, guys. It's what I'm doing, guys, is I am buying properties and I am not going to sell them. Period. I do believe that you do not make money selling property, with one exception, and that is if you're a house flipper. You buy a house, you fix it up, you flip it. Then you make money selling property. But as for myself, when it comes to buying condos and buying whatever else I'm getting my hands on, folks, I'm holding on to them all. Every single one of them. Hidden in corporations. And here's the cool part about Panama. There's no public database as to who the directors, the president, the secretary, the vice president, the treasurer. That information is not available to the public at all. So even though the CRA says, we'll find you anywhere in the world and take your money, no, they won't. If you've got a corporation in Panama, you're completely protected. The CRA has absolutely no way to know unless you're a dumbass and phone them and say, hi, CRA, how you doing? I don't speak Arabic, so I'll try to fumble through this. I just opened a corporation up in Panama. It's called, I don't know, screw the CRA SC, and I'm the president, and my sister's the director. Are you kidding me? How do you think they're going to find out? Everyone says, well, all the banks around the world have to talk to each other. Well, Panamanian banks don't really care. They're not going to listen to a requirement to pay letter from the CRA. The CRA doesn't even have jurisdiction in Canada. What would make you think they've got jurisdiction here? So you're absolutely protected when you as a Canadian become a resident of Panama with a corporation. You put your money in the corporate bank account, ta-da, done. It's safe. Can the CRA put a lien on your house if you owe any taxes to your corporation's company? Could you maybe elaborate on what you think that scenario is? I'm not entirely sure I'm following that. Do I have an office in Kamloops? Maybe. Can the CRA put a lien on your house? Okay, same question. Once you remove your name as a member of the board of directors, do you still have to file T2, HST, and payroll? You don't have to do anything. You're an adult. If you want to, go ahead. If you don't want to, whatever. I mean, I had a really, really, really funny conversation with this. I'm going to put the recording out soon with a CRA rep who says, your corporation makes a lot of money. It doesn't have an HST number. Okay. What do you want me to say about that? I don't know. Does it? This is a corporation I bought that had something like $7 million in debt. All right. I said, well, maybe it does. Maybe it does. And who's the director? I'm not at liberty to say. Right? She got mad. All right, there we go. So I kept asking her, what are you calling for? Well, I need to come and see your books because you haven't done them properly. I said, okay. You seem a bit upset. I started being like a psychologist. Is there something wrong? Did you want to talk? Anyway, she got mad. That was it. She got mad. And I told her I wasn't answering any questions. So she threatens me on the phone saying, if you don't let me see those books, I'm going to assess you at a really high amount. I said, okay, well, that's fraud. And that's also retaliatory. And that's what you call misfeasance. It's also what you would call malicious prosecution. That's a crime. And this idiot said it in a recorded conversation. Isn't that incredible? They think that they're something special, don't they? So what'll happen here is I bought the company. I forget. Does it have a GST or HST? I don't know. You know how many companies I buy every week? I had no idea. But I do know that if you threaten me, I'm going to take it very seriously. And I do know that when that assessment comes in, we're going to object to it, take it into tax court, file criminal charges, and sue the bitch. That's what I know. Because, you know, if you're a government employee, if you work for any branch of the Canadian government, assume I don't like you. In fact, assume that I do not assume that you are a human being. And I will harm you using the law, nothing illegal, but I'm going to harm you as best I possibly can. Because you people, police, judges, crown attorneys, the CRA, the Ontario Labor Board, all you just hurt people. That's all you do. You harm innocent people all of the time. I hate you all. And you are toys for me to enjoy, all right? In fact, let's just make a public declaration right now. Everybody who works for the CRA, your image and your name and you are officially now my property to do with as I please. Imagine, there's one guy. He's about, I'm 5'6". He's about this tall. He's about dead chunky. And he really does think that he's tough and he thinks he's something special. Well, we tracked him down at home and he's about to get a surprise. Not me showing up with weapons. I wouldn't do that, but I'm going to take his house. And I'm going to make a big deal of that. And you know that CBC is going to call me and say, well, you know, you took his house and you put his family out on the street. Okay. How many families has he put on the street? Yeah. And this particular individual, I doubt that he's a Canadian citizen. Could we just deport him? Like, wouldn't that, let's call ICE. Hey, ICE, we got one for you. You know, because I'll tell you this, if I was prime minister of the country, I'd call ICE right now. ICE, you just come over the border. I'm going to pay you. All right. We're going to pay you to deal with this problem for us. Yeehaw. How do you put a home with a judgment on it into a corporation? Well, is it a real judgment or is it just a lien? I'd like to know the difference here. Do I sell shelf corps? Yeah, we've got about 150 at any given time. Yeah, we absolutely do. Tax mechanic guy says CRA monitors your lifestyle. Is that true? Not until you're under audit. Once they've picked you for an audit, then they start looking you up and they want to see what your lifestyle is. But, you know, here's the thing, folks. If you don't answer questions, then there's nothing they can do about it. Let's just say, for argument's sake here, you run a corporation. I'm going to give you an example of completely legal. All right, here we go. You run a corporation. You don't take a salary. The corporation buys a company car. In the corporate bylaws, we write down that the president or the owner of the company is the only one permitted to drive the vehicle. It is not personal property. It can be recalled by the corporation at any time. Now you can drive the car all the time. The corporation relies on the president being completely free and clear mentally to think through solutions to problems. Ergo, the following will be paid for by the corporation. Massages, gym membership, movie tickets, gun club membership, you know, whatever. All that stuff, because your corporate bylaws state that the president and the owner of the company can do this with company money. There you go. You can live an incredibly lavish lifestyle if the corporation agrees to pay for it. Then the corporation goes out and buys a new corporation, owns that corporation, and that secondary corporation buys a mansion, 10,000 square foot mansion with its own gym and 4 levels of swimming pool, movie theater in the basement, you know, whatever, all right? And that the corporate bylaws now of 2 different corporations dictate that this house exists and is owned by the secondary corporation for the sole purpose of humbling anybody who visits the owner. It's marketing. The house becomes a marketing plan, and the president of the company can live in it because the corporate bylaws say so. But he's still, in all of this, not drawing a salary. All legal. Okay, and then some little jerk from the CRA shows up, you know, with that they all walk like Hunchback in Notre Dame, all of them. They got briefcases with them, and they flash this little plastic card. I'm with the CRA, and I have the right to look at your books. Now, let's just say, for argument's sake, you're a guy who's clever enough to build this business, buy the mansion, buy the Lamborghini, buy all this stuff, but you're stupid enough to say, oh, well, goodness gracious, come on in and have a look at my books. And the first thing they're going to do is, I noticed a Lamborghini outside, and I noticed a Hughes 500 helicopter in the backyard, and I saw you got a swimming pool, and I can see that you've got some Mastiff dogs, and look at the size of this house. Oh my God. And you make no money. Ooh, yes, your lifestyle looks like it's very rich for someone who says he only makes $5,000 on a T4. Well, we're just going to have to tax you. That's where the lifestyle thing comes in. All right. But you see, that would be an incredibly easy victory in court. The loser at the CRA will just say, all the earnings that the corporation has will now put onto this person. Fraud. It's fraud. Charge them criminally, sue the individual, take it to tax court, you're going to win. Because if it's owned by the corporation, the CRA can't just say for themselves, oh, we think it's not corporate stuff. But you've caused a problem for yourself. You'll win in court. But you've now caused a problem for yourself because you've allowed them to see your lifestyle. Corporation paid for it. They don't like that. These are uneducated, highly stupid people who have chips on their shoulders because they've got crap government jobs, and they see a lot of people out there making money, and they're jealous and want to hurt you. That's just how it is. There you go. Now, here's something. As a public figure, you know that I make millions of dollars. Millions of dollars. But do I make millions of dollars? Or does my corporation make millions of dollars? Or does all 600 plus of my corporations make a little bit of money here and there and then decide what to do with it? Do any of my corporations with those millions of dollars being brought in the door actually have a profit? Ooh, wait a second here. Hold on. That's something people didn't think about. So as another example, I know there's a lot of people that hate Trump out there. You know, he went bankrupt like 4 times, right? Okay, but it was a strategy to win. So, example, we had a corporation, and I'm not going to tell you what we bought. Well, okay, I will. It was a very nice car. It was a very nice car that we bought. And eventually, it wasn't me driving it anymore. I actually allowed one of my business partners to drive it because I don't feel like driving in Panama. I don't need to. Like, I just don't want to drive. So I said, you drive it for a while. So one company bought the car. We wrote the entire expense off. And then we realized, you know, why don't we just move the ownership of this car to a different corporation? So we moved it to a holding company in the province of Ontario, owned by an LLC in Wyoming, owned by a corporation in Panama. So who actually owns it? And which jurisdiction would the CRA state would be the law of choice? Right? Who governs this? Well, I can tell you that we would only allow the governance to be Panama law on that. But it's an expensive car. And one of our team is driving it right now. And the corporation that bought it lost money and then transferred the asset. What then? Is that lifestyle? Or is that us playing games with paperwork that's legal to do? Or is that me asking one of my business partners to go show off to drag attention to the fact that we are successful and that you should give us money? You know, there's all kinds of ways you can look at it. It's not even lifestyle. I mean, it's just company buying stuff, but you're the one showing off. And that's why they're going to punish you for it. So I know that was a long answer, but that is what I want you to consider. That's why you don't talk to the CRA. Always tell them, guys, I don't answer questions, but whatever questions you have, put them in writing, and I'll have my lawyer look at them. Thank you. Have yourself a lovely day. Hang up the phone. Hang up the phone. You don't want them knowing anything about you. That's also why all of you should either have a mailbox or you should come to me because I've got addresses all over the country you can use. You should never have your home address on anything, not even your driver's license, all right? Guys, you want to protect yourself. Why do you tell people where you live? Come on, man. Knock that nonsense off fully. All righty. What is my problem with FinTrack? Where do I start with them? God. FinTrack. FinTrack was brought in like shortly after 9/11 to say, well, we're going to help the Americans fight terror funding. And then they realized, wait a second, whoa, every facet of the Canadian government is run by money laundering, and we have terrorists all over the country from every Middle Eastern country going. So we really would just be putting ourselves in jail if we used FinTrack for its original purpose. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to lie and tell Canadians that we actually care about human trafficking, which they don't. And we're going to go ahead and just issue fines to everybody. Cuz. That's why. So that Sarah Paquette, I'm not sure if I still have her oh man, no, I deleted the image. But if you guys remember my show about FinTrack, where I invited the director to come out and speak on the show on behalf of FinTrack, they declined it, of course, because they know who I am and they know that they have no authority and they know I was going to expose them for that. So they didn't want to come on stage and have me make them look like fools. Let them do it themselves. And Sarah Paquette is another one of those highly insane white liberal women. This one's from Quebec. And you know how French Canadian women have that really sexy French accent? This one's not sexy at all. Like this one, she's horrible to listen to. Nails on the chalkboard, 250 babies crying at the same time, car accident, explosion, gunshots going off the background. That's what her voice sounds like. Everything simultaneously. It's painful to hear her speak. So what FinTrack does, here's what I've got a problem with them. They lie to the public and say, we are protecting children from human trafficking, and comma, that is why we issue casinos and money marts and other financial institutions. We issue fines to them. They've done nothing wrong, but we think that they might. Guys, I shit you not. That's in their own documentation. I played a video for you on one of my shows. That's what she said. They issue fines believing there's a slight chance you might be funding human trafficking. How many people have you ever come across who were trafficked? It's not as common as you think. And how many people do you know you've ever met who said, hey, I've got this great sidekick and side gig and this side job. I got this great part-time thing. I know a guy. So here's what we do. We run a charity casino in a gymnasium in a school. And then what we do is we grab a whole bunch of kids and their teachers. We put them in trucks and we drive them across the country. And then we put them on ships and sell them to China. How many people have you ever met who are actually involved in any kind of organized crime? Yeah, I'm a pretty smart guy. I've been all over the world. I have met a lot of Canadians. I used to be the best podcaster, journalist in Canada. I've met a lot of criminals. And even then, I still, in all of that time, never met a human trafficker. That's not true. I have. Every judge who ever put me in prison, that's human trafficking. Cops are the human traffickers. They grab innocent people off the street, assault them, put handcuffs on them, make up some excuses to why they're in the back of a police car, transport them to a police station, process them like that shit matters, which just means them writing down a bunch of lies on a piece of paper. Then you got to be trafficked into the court system where some loser wearing a black dress decides if you go free that day or not. And then if he says no, you get trafficked to a prison or a jail or a remand center, whatever they want to call it. You're being trafficked, because everybody is getting paid in this. So yes, I've met human traffickers, judges, crown attorneys, cops, prison guards. They're the human traffickers. And on top of all of that, especially in the province of Ontario, they should never have shown me the inside of Maplehurst Prison, because what they do there is they ring a bell, but like a Mormon church. Ding-a-ling-ling, it's prayer time. Yeah, it's prayer time, all right. They give everybody methamphetamine. It was offered to me. Mr. Johnston, you know, you look a little tense. Would you like some methamphetamine? I'm good. Thank you. I'll just do some push-ups. Holy crap. So outside of the courts and the cops and whatnot, I've never met a human trafficker. And I would never make the assumption that some guy running a charity casino is doing it so that he can hurt kids. That's not what enters my head. I'm thinking, this guy's running a charity casino. He's probably going to pocket 10%. Good for him. Who gives a shit? It's none of my business. You know, it's hard work to run these things. You should get paid for your time. That's my problem with FinTrack. They lie. They are not investigators. They are not skilled people. And I read to you on my show, it was like, what, a month, 2 months ago, the statement from this Sarah Paquette idiot who runs FinTrack, where she says, oh, you know, we no hire the white man no more, we need to do the diversity, so we hire the diversity, Poutine, Habs go over there, French Canadian, la la la, Quebec, Montreal, oh yeah. That's all she said. She literally said they're only hiring diversity hires. So you've got a whole bunch of foreigners, you got a whole bunch of crazy LGBTQs, crazy people working for this institution, writing fines to everyone they want, and then putting the onus on you to fight them in court to get the ticket reversed. Yeah, I've got a lot of problems with FinTrack, people. I'm not really a fan of any of that, just for the record. All right. All right. So just having a quick look here. Okay, folks. Yes, so there's a couple of things here. What's the process to take a house from someone? Sue them, win, have the judge write an endorsement and or court order to take the house. If you want to bankrupt somebody, you and 50 of your closest friends can all file a lawsuit against the same individual. Even though they are BS lawsuits, they got to defend all 50. Like right off the hop, they're in the hole, 10 grand. Then they got to hire a lawyer to fight them all. Yes, we can do this collectively, everybody. Yeah, here's what we're going to do. I got an idea. We're going to track down individual CRA representatives who have done something wrong. Okay, so as soon as we have figured out and we declare that they've broken the law, that's when we figure it out. We don't hurt them. We don't break their windows. We don't play Nicky Nine Doors. We don't egg their house. We don't wrap their trees in toilet paper. Instead, what we do is we get 100 people to file a lawsuit against the individual CRA representative, and we make sure that we serve them. But you serve them over the course, let's say, a month. Could you imagine going to bed every night and like ding dong, 3 o'clock in the morning, new lawsuit. And here's the cool part is if you're suing a CRA representative directly, and not the CRA in addition to it, the Department of Justice will not be paid for by the CRA to defend that individual's lawsuit. That's, hold on, I'm going to back it up. All right, everyone, take a bow. That is how we take houses from people, all right? And it's legal. It's legal. There's not one crime that I have stated in that. I would always tell all of you, do not violate the Criminal Code of Canada. You don't need to, because all the stupid rules that these stupid courts have all over Canada actually allow this to happen. There you go, everyone. I noticed that my trolls didn't stick around too long. All right, guys, if you just ignore the CRA's phone calls, they have a policy there. They make a phone call, they send a letter out, they make a phone call, one more letter, one more phone call. If you don't reply to any of them, they just take action. They do whatever they want at that point. So you always want to take the call, let them know whatever they're looking for, send everything in writing, and your lawyer will contact them shortly. And then make sure you get a hold of me so the correct legal letter goes out. All right. I'm a day trader in Canada. How can I avoid paying huge taxes? Day trade through a corporation. That's it, bro. That's it. That's where it ends. You never want to put your real social insurance number down on anything. There's a website out there. I honestly forget the name, but there's a website out there that generates entire profiles for people. You know, your date of birth, city of birth, your mother's maiden name, social insurance number, whatever else. You can use that for your profile. Like, guys, we are in business to make money. I buy crypto to make money. I buy properties to make money. I work 14 hours to 15 hours a day doing this tax stuff for people, finding strategies for people, taking corporations out of the tax system to make money. Everything I do is to make money. You cannot make money if you're talking to the CRA saying, hi, here's my tax return, please tax me. You're not going to make money. So you, my friend, who's doing the day trading, do it all through a corporation where you don't draw a salary at all. The corporation, wink, wink, makes the decisions. It's you running the show, but the corporation gets all the commissions. All right, there you go. Or just change the numbers on your social insurance number. It's not your name that screws you. It's the social insurance number that screws you. So I've had this conversation many times with the CRA when I call them up saying, hey, CRA, guess what? You know that corporation you're trying to collect a couple $1 million in tax? It ain't going to happen. I bought it. And on the phone, they'll say, well, what's your social insurance number? I'm not going to give you that. Why would you want that? Well, so that we can aggressively collect the debt. Say, well, but is there really a debt? You guys are basing this debt nonsense on something that somebody wrote down on a piece of paper. All right? It simply is not going to fly. I'm not going to give the government money, and I'm not going to tell them my social insurance number. Actually, guys, I got rid of it a long time ago, but I'm not going to tell them what it used to be. I'm just not. I'm not ever going to encourage any of you to do that either. Just do not give your social insurance number to anybody, period. Change your driver's licenses to a mailbox or to my address. I've got a bunch of addresses, all right? Do that. Number two, if you've got bills in your name anywhere in your house, even if you own the house, lie. Say, hi, my name's John Smith, or I don't know, Christopher Reeve, Dean Kane, Brandon Ruth, pick one, some celebrity. And I just moved in. I'm renting this place. I need to get the power bill in my name. You should not have any utility bills in your house in your name. Not water, not gas, not electricity, nothing. Why? Because even if you pay it on time, your credit score doesn't go up. But if you miss payments, it goes down. So if there's zero benefit to something, why the hell are you doing it? I use the name Dean Kane a lot. I get phone calls on collection agencies once in a while. Oh, yes, hello, my name is here. I'd like to talk to the Dean Kane. You owe us the money for the day of electricity. Yeah, all right. And I'll mess with them for a bit saying, yeah, I'm Dean Kane. You know, I'm the guy that played Superman on, TV back in the 80s. Yeah. Come get me. I live in Hollywood. So there you are. Next thing is, whenever you flash identification anywhere for anything, don't use your friggin' driver's license, man. Passport. Okay? Use your passport. There's no address on it. You are allowed to have 2 passports, one expired, one not. However, what you can do with the expired one is you simply go to a notary public and say, listen, this passport here is going to be used specifically and only as a second piece of identification. And they'll stamp it and whatnot. Now you can say, here's 1, here's 2. And they'll say, well, one of them's expired. No. There's a notary stamp right inside. It's good. It's valid. There's your 2 pieces of ID. Why passport? Because it's not attributed to an address. It's not attributed to a phone number. It's not attributed to anything at all. It's just you. It's the face there on the screen. Right? Always use your passport. Protect your identity. All of you out there who have cell phones should not be in your name. Cell phones need to be in a corporate name. You do not want to have a phone number in Canada at all in your personal name. Why, you might ask? Well, you know they're going to pass this new law that they're trying to push right now, where the RCMP and the OPP and all the other perverts that wear masks and costumes and whatnot, they're going to want to see what's in your phone. Yeah, they're going to want that. And if it's in your name, they can get not a warrant, but just permission from a justice of the peace to look inside your phone. But if that phone is billed to a corporation and the corporation's not under investigation, well, they can't get it, all right? So everything, folks, has got to be protected. Everything. Ladies and gentlemen, some of you are being followed by supposedly this guy right here, right now, on TikTok. My hands are here. I am not following anyone. If any of you are being followed by supposedly me, it's not me. Block. This account is real Kevin J. Johnston. It's the only one I have. Please block all the others. How do I transfer money into a Panama bank account from Canada? I get you a corporation, I get you a corporate bank account, and we transfer funds. That's it. We transfer funds. While you're at it, though, you may as well get yourself a residency here. That's correct. You want to have a residency. Friendly nations will do just fine. You don't have to invest in property. You don't have to pay exorbitant fees. You pay a one-time fee to my law team down here. You've got the account, you get the corporation, and you've got your residency. And now the CRA can't touch anything you have in the way of dough. All right. What's next here? What's next? Yeah, guys, Sophia, I am not DMing anybody on Telegram. All right? Nobody. So you're talking to a scammer. Just knock it off. Is he my favorite Superman? No, Christopher Reeve was always my favorite Superman, folks. Nobody will top him. By the way, did you guys know that when Christopher Reeve played Superman, he was 26? He looked 44, didn't he? He was 26 when he played that role. It was unbelievable. I also, guys, just for those who want to nostalgize here, when I saw Superman 2 in the theater, I was, I don't know, like, that young. There was clapping, there was cheering, there was whistling, there was popcorn being thrown in the air. We were having an absolute party watching Superman kick ass. Oh, man, it was a different time back then. If anybody has a Kelvin Johnston following it, do you see an L in my name up here? It's a fake. It's a scam. Please don't do it. How much to set up corporations? $19.50 in every province. If you want corporate bylaws, it's $4,500 in total. Cheaper than a law firm by a full 3 quarters. Yeehaw. Okay, folks. Well, those 2 hours just came and went. So hopefully everyone's learned a lot here about how to make money, how to not pay tax, how to protect yourselves. You learned a little bit about crypto tonight. You learned a lot about taxes tonight. You learned a lot about privacy tonight. We did a bit of FinTrack, did some CRA stuff. I didn't do any Mark Carney jokes tonight. None. I forgot about that completely. But I'll say this. When I was on Threads, before Zuckerberg threw me off of Threads, all I would say is Mark Carney is married to a man. And I'll tell you, I just got this litany of insults thrown at me. It is incredible how many left-wingers out there know everything in the world about my junk. Yeah, that's the first insult going. Yeah, it's small, it's this. It's nuts. Guys, lefties, get some new material, man. And Mark Carney's married to a man. All right, folks, that's it. We got to fly. It's been an absolute blast tonight. I'm looking forward to doing this again with you next week. We do this absolutely every single Tuesday. Yee-haw. This is the Tax and Money Show with me, Kevin J. Johnston. This is episode number 121. I've been at this a very long time, everybody. This is the show where you can learn how to make money, not pay tax, keep every penny that you make. The Tax and Money Show is every single Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on the taxandmoneyshow.com. Gotta go. Love you all, and good night.